in the Punjab. And he had a field that was next to the forest. And one day, he went down to that field to plough. And he took with him his 2 precious bullocks. Took his bullocks to plough the field. Oh, it was a beautiful day. The snow-capped peaks against the blue sky. The scent of flowers from the meadows. The orchards were heaving with mangoes. And he just finished doing one furrow, and he was just about to turn and do the next one, when suddenly, a tiger came out of the forest. And the farmer just froze like this. And the tiger just sauntered over to where he was standing. And the tiger said, "Assalamu alaikum. How are you?" And the farmer, he was terrified. And he just stood there frozen to the spot. And he said, Salam, Lord Tiger. I'm fine. Thank you. And the tiger said, "Oh, that's good. Because you see, Providence has sent me here today to eat those 2 bullocks that you've got pulling your plough." Yeah. Well, come on then! Get it off the plough, because I want to eat them! Now, the thought of losing these 2 precious bullocks suddenly gave that farmer some courage, and he said, well, actually, Lord Tiger, Providence has sent me here today to plough this field, which I can't do without those 2 bullocks. So maybe there's been a misunderstanding? You might want to make inquiries? And the tiger said, "I don't think so. Now, get those 2 bullocks off the plough, and I'll be ready for them in a jiffy." At which point, the tiger started to sharpen his teeth and his claws on a nearby rock, like this. The sight of that was so terrifying for the farmer, he lost all his courage. And he said, please, Lord Tiger, don't eat my 2 precious bullocks, please. Oh, I've got a better idea. How about a nice, juicy, succulent milk cow? Yeah? How about that instead? Because my wife has got one tied up in the yard. Yeah? Shall I bring that instead? Oh, yes. The tiger liked the sound of that. A juicy, succulent milk cow was better than 2 tough bullocks any day. So he said, "All right, but don't mess with me, farmer, or I will make ribbons out of your shawar." So the farmer headed back to the farmhouse with the 2 bullocks, and wondering how he was going to explain to his wife that he had just agreed to give away her milk cow, and wondering if he'd be better off with the tiger. Anyway, he got back home, walked into the yard, and his wife's there, and she sees him coming, and she says, "Oh, what are you doing back so early?" Sorry, I don't know why she sounds like that. I think she must be West Country Punjabi. I don't know. "What are you doing back so early?" So the farmer explained to his wife how he had met this tiger and how he had stood up to the tiger and saved the 2 precious bullocks and agreed to give away her milk cow instead. And his wife said, "Oh, I see. Right. So, without my milk cow, how am I going to get milk for the children? And how am I going to make ghee for your parathas?" And the farmer said, "My dear, there won't be any parathas if I can't plough the field, because then I won't grow any wheat, and I can't plough the field if I don't have the 2 bullocks, so please, give me the milk cow before the tiger comes to eat us." And the wife said, "Oh, you numpty. Right, I going to do? You are going to go back to the tiger. Go back to the tiger. Tell him that your wife will be along later with the milk cow because it wouldn't go with you. Off you go. So, the farmer went back to the field. Then, as soon as he was gone, his wife went into the farmhouse and she opened up the chest and she took out all of his clothes and she put on all of his kurta shalwar until she looked really big. And then she put on a big turban so that she looked really tall. And then she got on a horse and she rode off to the field. Yeah! Now, the farmer got back to the field and he saw the tiger, and the tiger was still sharpening his teeth and claws like this. And when he saw the farmer coming back empty-handed, he started pacing up and down the field, snarling, fur bristling, and the farmer just stood there in the middle of the field like a jelly like this. Then suddenly, yeah! Where be tiger? I've not had a tiger to eat since yesterday, when I ate 3 for breakfast. Now, when the tiger heard that, when he saw this demon horseman, he was so frightened, he bolted off into the forest. Now, when the farmer realized who the demon horseman was, they started to laugh. He was amazed. And the farmer and his wife laughed together about how they had played a trick on the tiger. But when the tiger bolted into the forest, he ran past a jackal. You see, every tiger has a jackal who waits in the shadows to feed on the bones that the tiger leaves behind. So, as the tiger bolted past him, the jackal said, "Where are you going, Lord Tiger?" And the tiger said, "Run, run! There's a demon horseman that eats tigers." And the jackal said, "That is just the farmer's wife, dressed as a man." And the tiger said, "Are you sure?" "Quite sure. You can even see her pigtail hanging at the back of her turban." But the farmer was still suspicious, as the powerful often are of their friends. And he said, "But how do I know that they haven't bribed you to betray me?" And the jackal said, "Well then, we will go into the field together." And the tiger said, "But you might run away and leave me." Now, the jackal was losing patience. He wasn't about to lose out on a good meal because of some cowardly tiger and some farmer's wife. And so he said, "Then we will tie our tails together so that I can't run away." So that's what they did. They tied their tails together, and then together the pair of them went out into the field. The farmer and his wife, they're still standing there, still laughing about the trick. It's so funny. It's so funny. And then they see the jackal and the tiger coming towards them. And the farmer said, "We are dead. We are so dead. And he's about to bolt off when his wife grabs his arm and she says, don't run. Stand your ground. So they stood there as the tiger and the jackal came closer and closer and closer. But as soon as they were within earshot, the farmer's wife said, thank ye, Mr. Jackal, for bringing me such a fat tiger. When I've finished with him, you can lick his bones. Now, the jackal was just about to say, don't listen to her lies. But it came out as, don't listen to her lies. As the tiger bolted off back into the forest, dragging the jackal behind him. And the jackal went bumpity bump, bumpity thump, whackety whack. Until the jackal was worn to the bone and the tiger was exhausted. And they never went back to that field again. And the farmer and his wife laughed and laughed and laughed. Thank you very much. Okay. Hello again, everyone. Sorry, I thought I was supposed to go away and come back, but anyway, so short break, here I am again. Now, who's heard of Mullah Nasruddin? Come on, somebody must have heard of Mullah Nasruddin. Mullah Nasruddin, you know, yeah? The funny guy with the long beard, the bit of the turban, yeah, no, bit of a tummy, wobbly turban, who likes to ride his donkey backwards. Yeah, I know, yeah. You know, Mullah Nasruddin, the funny man, yes. So, where would we be? How could we have Eid without some Mullah Nasruddin stories? So I thought, how about a little Mullah Nasruddin menu, all right? So we could have some canapes, some starters, a main course, and then finish off with a nice bit of dessert. Yeah? That sort of thing. All right. So, okay, here are the canapes. That's shortly, you know, little things. So, Mullah Nasruddin wanted to do a spot of fishing. So he went down to the riverbank and he cast off with his fishing rod, stuck it in the ground, and then he went to sleep. Then a neighbour came by and called to him from the other side of the river. Assalamu alaikum, Mullah Nasruddin. Mullah Nasruddin woke up. Walaikum assalam. What do you want? And the neighbour said, Mullah Nasruddin, how do I get to the other side of this river? And Mullah Nasruddin said, you are on the other side. Mullah Nasruddin went into a coffee house and he started boasting. Guess what? I made a whole tribe of bloodthirsty bandits just run. And all his friends were really impressed and they said, really, Mullah? How did you do that? And he said, well, I ran and they ran after me. Mullah Nasruddin had a meeting with a very important man in town. But he kept forgetting to turn up to the meeting and the man was very cross and he said, Mullah, I'm going to be at your place tomorrow at noon. Make sure you're there. The next day, the man comes round to Mullah Nasruddin's house. Guess what? Mullah Nasruddin isn't there. Oh, the man was so angry. He picked up some chalk and he wrote, donkey brain, on Mullah Nasruddin's door. And then he went off. Mullah Nasruddin came back. He sees donkey brain written on his door. Ran over to the man's house. He said, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I completely forgot about our meeting. But I remembered as soon as I saw your name written on my door. Mullah Nasruddin had lost his donkey. He couldn't find his donkey. He was searching everywhere. And then he went went past this park bench. There was a married couple sitting there, obviously very much in love. And the man said to his wife, "I can see all the world in your beautiful eyes." Mullah Nasruddin overheard, and he said, "Excuse me, could you look again? You might see my donkey." Mullah Nasruddin went into the coffee house. He started boasting again. "Guess what? I was on the road, and I met the king, and he spoke to me." And all his friends were really impressed, and they said, "Really, Mullah? What did he say?" "He said, 'Get out of the way, you idiot.'" Those are the canapes, all right? Now we're on to the starters, or hors d'oeuvres if you're posh, all right? I like this story. Mullah Nasruddin went to visit a friend who was sick. They had stomachache. And whilst he was visiting his friend, the doctor came to see him. The doctor walked in, he looked around, looked under the bed, and he said, "Ah, don't worry, you'll soon feel better. Just don't eat any more apples." And he went off. Mullah Nasruddin was really impressed. How did the doctor come up with such a quick diagnosis? He ran after the doctor to ask him. And the doctor said, "Oh, it was easy. You see, I looked under the bed and I saw a big pile of apple cores. It was obvious why he had stomachache." The next day, Mullah Nasruddin went to visit another friend. Knocked on the door. Door opened. It was his friend's wife. And she said, "Oh, Mullah Nasruddin, we don't need you, we need a doctor. My husband has a stomachache." And Mullah Nasruddin says, "Oh, don't worry, I know what to do." And he went into the friend's room and he looked under the bed and he said, "Don't worry, you'll soon feel better. Just don't eat any more slippers." Just realised, lost an earring. Oh, that's what went on. All right, I think we're ready for the, ready for the main course? Yes, ready for the main course, I think we are. Yes, so. I love this next story because this next story comes from the Uyghur. The Uyghur people of China is a favourite of theirs, and they know Mullah Nasruddin as Effendi. And in this story, there is a very rich man. A very rich man who lived in a fine house. And he had the finest clothes. And he ate the finest, the most delicious, the most expensive food. Now, I am sure that you would hope or expect that a man like that, who shopped at Waitrose, would share his wealth with those who were less fortunate than himself. But I'm sorry to say, as is so often the way, this man was as mean and greedy as he was rich. He didn't give anything to anyone. He would just sit at home in his big house. But that could get boring because he didn't have many friends. So he sat there thinking about how he was going to entertain himself. That Mullah Nasruddin, he's funny, except when he's making fun of me. The rich man was always making fun of him, calling him mean and greedy. So he decided he wanted to take revenge on Mullah Nasruddin. He was going to make that Mullah Nasruddin look like a fool. So he came up with a plan. He sent his servants to go to the market to buy the most delicious food and to buy the most delicious, the most juicy melons. Then he sent invitations out to all of the most important people in the town and one invitation for Mullah Nasruddin. The day of the banquet arrived. Everybody came and they all sat around the big banqueting table. And the rich man made sure that Mullah Nasruddin was sat right next to him. Then he clapped his hands. Servants walked in with great platters with roasted meats and fragrant rice, and everyone went, mmm. And they all dived in, they made most delicious food. And then he clapped his hands again. Servants walked in with platters of melon, slices of the juiciest melon, sprinkled in ruby pomegranate seeds. Everybody went, mmm. Oh. And then they all dived in and ate. But nobody ate as much as the rich, greedy man. He ate more than anybody else. But every time he finished a slice of melon, he put the finished melon peel on Mullah Nasruddin's plate when nobody was looking. Like this. Now, when all the melon was finished, the rich man's plate was empty. But Mullah Nasruddin's plate had a great tower of melon peel. The rich man leaned back. He licked his lips. Now he would take revenge. Now he would make that Mullah Nasruddin look like a fool. And he said, "Look, everybody, look at Mullah Nasruddin's plate. Isn't he greedy? Look at all that melon peel." And everybody looked. And everybody laughed. And the rich man laughed. And even Mullah Nasruddin laughed. And he said, "Yes, I am greedy. But look, our host is more greedy than me. I only ate the flesh of the melon. He ate the peel as well." Now, if that wasn't enough dessert for you, I'll leave you with a last very short story. One morning, Mullah Nasruddin came downstairs, sat at the breakfast table. He said, "I just had the most terrible dream." And his wife said, "Really? What happened? What was your dream?" And he said, "I dreamt, all right, I dreamt that I was at an Eid party. And there was this chocolate cake. It was absolutely covered in chocolate. It had layers of chocolate. It was total chocolate heaven. And somebody put it in the oven so that it melted, you know, so the top of the icing was beginning to melt. And then they brought it out of the oven, and then they served it with great scoops of the creamiest, most delicious ice cream, vanilla ice cream. And when you put them together, you could see the ice cream melting into the chocolate sauce that was running down." And his wife said, "Mullah Nasruddin, why is this a terrible dream?" And Mullah Nasruddin said, "Because I woke up before I got to eat it." Thank you very much, everyone. I've run out my time. Thank you, and you enjoyed. Mullah Nasruddin. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.